wanted to bring you guys in for a closer look at these front plate and back plate. Here's those holes that we just drilled. Okay, but anyways, now that those holes are drilled, what I went ahead and did, and I saved you guys the boring part, but I made the measurement from the hole where I had to make this cut in the arm. And so I was able to make that cut based on this measurement. What that is that's for the disc, which is mostly just there for looks, but it does it goes with the motif, and it'll be out of the way the brake disc that's on the caliper, or excuse me, that's on the spindle. And yeah, so that's been cut. So now what we got to do is we're going to drill the holes for these bearings. I already got a head start, and I drilled the holes here. And those are going to be for the pivot of the arms. There's going to be those bearings on the front and back. I know they're grossly oversized, but it'll go with the whole steampunk look. It'll be cool. But I'm going to clamp these two bad boys together. Get these holes drilled. So for the sake of the human powered drill, I'm going to go ahead and take these plates apart for the rest of the drilling. But now we know the holes are lined up as they should be. What we want to do is we have some countersunk hardware like this that's actually going to go in on the other side, and it has to be level, or excuse me, flush with the plate on the other side. That way it doesn't hit the spindle knuckle that's going to be moving for the arm. I'll show you guys that here in a minute. But yeah, so the next thing I need to do is put the little bevel in there so this will sit down flush. Aha! With these countersunk holes done, they came out okay. It's time to put this on the mainframe of the robot and start trying out the shoulders. But before I do that, I want to show you guys this. Check this out. I found these scraps of flat bar at the scrapyard, and I went ahead and welded those on there. Of course, they're overkill, but they look good, and they go with the motif of the steampunk deal. Everything's real oversized and gnarly down here. Of course, when I get down on the end of the robot arms, I can't do all that. But for now, yeah, it's awesome. It's this big open space here. I'm going to put all the electronics, motor drivers, microcontrollers, and all that kind of good stuff. But next up is go ahead and get these plates on here. Lift this thing out, huh? Oh, yeah, boat anchor. Alright. I got these marked. I put a little drill hole so I would know who's who and where they go. So here's the front. Okay. Just a couple of nuts to pin it in place. Don't want it falling off on me. And the back plate. Alright, let you guys take a look at that. Back plate, front plate. Get a good look back here. But yeah, now the next thing I'm going to do is these bearings. Got to get mounted where those countersunk holes are that we did a few minutes ago. So that way we can start experimenting with the shoulders. I've made up an experimental spindle knuckle bracket to hold on to here that we're going to experiment with. But yeah, let's get those bearings on there. Got these countersunk hardware. Huh? Okay. So now you can see there's a two on that side. And then we got the two on this side. And I think I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys off and call it an episode. We've got the mainframe built here, at least enough to start testing shoulders. Pretty happy with the way it came out, at least for the first run, rough draft. But before I take off on this episode, or finish it rather, I want to show you guys a sneak peek of one of the shoulders. It's going to go on here, and I'm going to go ahead and even set. I've got some of the artistic pieces that I'm going to use for the hips down below. But yeah, I want to show you guys a sneak peek of the shoulder. I've made a rough draft of the bracket that's going to hold the spindle in place here. So let me show that to you now. I got that over here on the bench. And this CV axle spindle assembly, this is the one I took apart in front of you guys earlier. I pulled apart the brake caliper. We chopped off the end here, the other end of the CV axle. But this one here, take a look at that guy. This is the one that I went ahead and put a spindle knuckle bracket on here, just a temporary one. This is just going to be a rough draft. It's got a lot of work to do from here as far as making this knuckle bracket awesome. But I was really afraid of being able to get it lined up because these two pins here are what go into those bearings that we put on the shoulders. So I didn't think I'd be able to line them up. I thought about making a horseshoe and then cutting it and a few other strategies. But in the end, I just went with this one. Whereas I just put a bolt down the center and I can move this into place. And then when it's said and done and it's right, no binding, we'll weld right here. But yeah, so that's my plan on that. Let me show you this. I'm real excited. I got, this is from a Mazda Miata. And I'm going to use this for the hips and buttocks and the pelvic. I got the right and the left. And this is going to be really awesome. So I'm going to take a second right now and put these parts on the robot so we can get a sneak peek for the next episode. And there it is. I put the three pieces on. Got the two spindles down here from the Mazda Miata. Let me give you guys a good look at that. I really like the way they sit there. They're just sitting there. They're not mounted or anything. So they're just kind of hanging out. And then of course up here to our Arctic Cat CV axle spindle assemblies up here. Got the mock-up bracket, really happy with it. And I want to show you guys this, check it out. I can get my pinky in here. Move this really easily. And then over here on this end, there's the other end of the CV axle. It's mounted and held firmly in place with that bearing there. It's a little hard to see, it's a little dark in there, but got that bearing in there so that way this end is affixed. And because it doesn't need the CV axle on both ends because I have the pinion point in the exact same spot as the CV axle bends. So as the spindle moves, which I'm moving it right now, there's no movement over here. But yeah, so that end I'm going to use a little shaft that's going to go all the way down, and I'll probably have a servo or something that spins that. But it also spins real nice. I can grab it with my fingers and give it a turn real easy. And it's hard to show you guys on the camera, but you know, when this turns. So we got that motion, and then that guy there. Out of that Arctic Cat spindle, real happy. Got the oversized bearings, they look real steampunk. I like the overall shape that's coming out. And there it is. Thank you guys for checking out the first episode. I'm really happy with it. We got a bench for the piano guy to sit on. We've got the spine for the SteamBot. And we got the front plate and the back plate, and I really like where it's going. So, you know, thank you for watching. Up next, in the next episode, we're going to do shoulders. You know, we're going to get the shoulders perfected. We're going to make brackets that are going to go over these spindles. And we're going to perfect that. We already got a rough draft one that I made that you guys saw in the show. We're going to take what we learned from that, and we're going to make a final version, or at least what hopefully will be the final version, and we're going to slap them on there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's going to be the next episode. We're also going to be checking out some lead screws, you know, for figuring out how we want to make the shoulder move. Do we want to use a lead screw to make it move, or do we want to use a gear set? You know, one way or another, we're going to take power from a motor and make this move. So we'll play around with a few different ways to do that. And yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome. Go ahead and hit the like button for me, please, and subscribe to the channel, and tell me what you think in the comments.